Hi, I'm Mike Macedonio, and I'm here today with Letitia Hanke. Letitia Hanke again has come through in 2021 as a rock star, repeat performer. And we talk about being a rock star. We're talking about the top 1% in BNI in 2021. Letitia, you're just killing it with sponsoring members into BNI. And last year alone, you sponsored 3 members. And since you've been a member of BNI, you sponsored 24 people into BNI. I have to ask you to share with folks, first of all, who you are and what you do, and how are you so exceptional at this?
Okay, so I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much, Mike. I've been in the roofing industry for 25 years, almost 26. I'm actually going on my 26th year this coming March. And I joined BNI when I was back in 2012. And I was at this turning point in my life where I needed to do something a little different. I needed to build up my business. I wasn't getting the referrals that I really wanted. And literally I had, someone asking me constantly to come to the meeting, come to the meeting. And I'm just like, I made every excuse to not come. And I'm sure a lot of other people can relate to that. But I finally, showed up one Friday morning and it changed my life forever. And I just, I love BNI and I love everything that it stands for. And it's been such a blessing in my life in so many different ways. So I just want to start off by just letting you know that I just love BNI. But as far as inviting visitors go, I was so afraid to do that. Like when I first joined, it was the scariest thing imaginable for me. Oh my gosh, I have to invite visitors. And it wasn't easy to do. I actually couldn't, but the first visitor that I invited, I couldn't even call him up. And I've known this man for 20 something years. He was one of my mentors when I first got into the roofing industry, but I was terrified, to call him. So I sent him like an email. I'm like, could you come be my guest one day at BNI? And he showed up and he's still in BNI now, almost 10 years later. And he's a general contractor doing really well. And those were the things that started changing it for me. I'm just like, seeing all the lives that we've been changing. So it just started kind of with one person. And now it's a little easier to be able to invite people.
Okay. And of all those people that you have sponsored, is there one that stands out, or is there maybe there's more than one?
Yeah, there's definitely more than one. So I have to tell you about one that really stands out for me, and then one that recently that I had joined. Several years ago, I had a power partner. He was in solar, and he was my power partner in my chapter. And I give him a lot of referrals. I invited him to come. He joined, and one year I remember he told me when we were doing a one-to-one, he says, if I hadn't invited him to BNI and he wasn't getting all the referrals that he was getting, he wouldn't have been able to put food on the table for his daughter. He was a single dad raising his daughter who was disabled at the time. And he just told me that, and we were in tears just talking about how just that one little invite, made that difference in his life. And that really was a big turning point for me, for sure, because I realized that we're not just inviting people to just, get, awards or to, just have people come. We're actually changing people's lives. And that's when it clicked for me. I'm just like, oh, wait a second, I can actually help someone put food on the table for their family. And that's really all it takes now. It's a much easier process now for me to invite people. And recently I invited another roofer for a chapter that I used to belong to. And that chapter was missing the roofer, and I met her. She's a female roofer, Amy's Roofing. And I said, I've been in this, in this BNI thing for, 9 years, going on 10 years. And it's changed, my entire life. She knows that I was able to start my nonprofit because of it, like all those things. And I'm like, would you like to come? And I went with her to this other BNI group. She joined right away. And she's a rock star over there in that chapter, and she's doing really great. And in her first year of BNI, every time I go to visit her, she'll do her 10-minute presentation. And I'll go and listen to her presentation. She's the top one giving referrals, the top ones with one-to-ones. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about, So it's been great to just see that and see how people's businesses grow just from inviting them. So.
Those are outstanding stories, and they're both sides of the story. One side, how that gentleman was served by you inviting him and being part of BNI, and then also for this other female roofer that you invited, how she's serving an entire chapter by being one of the top performers. So excellent stories. So Letitia, is there anything else you would want to share with BNI members that may be listening to this?
You know, if I'm going to talk about specifically inviting visitors, I just want to think about it in a different way. Yes, it's our obligation, right? As being a BNI member, we're supposed to invite visitors, but there's so many other ways to look at it. I just told you two different stories. One about how inviting a member can absolutely change their lives by putting food on the table for their families. Others is about growing their business. They're a new business and they want to grow. But you have to also think about how that trickles down. I think about Amy, who's now doing, top referrals in her chapter, and how now she's paying that forward and now changing other people's lives as well, including the people that she's inviting. So it's not just, you're not just affecting one life, it's multiple lives that you're affecting in a very positive way. So I think if people really start thinking about it in that way, they'll not be afraid to make that phone call or send that email, because I proved that the email worked. Maybe they won't be afraid to do that. And so I'm hoping my message today gets through to somebody.
Excellent. I'm sure it will. Letitia, you're certainly a rock star. If the audience wanted to get a hold of you, what would be the best way to do that?
I love emails, so you can email me at my first name, Letitia, which is Letitia at arsroofing.com. That's a great way I check my emails literally all day. So you can email me. I'd love to do a one-to-one and chat about the process or anything else.
Well, thank you so much, Letitia. Pleasure having you speak with us today, and I look forward to see you in person sometime soon.
Sometime soon. Thank you so much, Mike.